Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Talbot Automotive Components Limited Q4 FY21 earnings conference call. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on a touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anuj Talwar, Joint Managing Director of Talbot Automotive Components Limited. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Talwar.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to our Q4 and FY21 earnings call. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. On the call today, I'm joined by Mr. Naveen Juneja, our Director and Group CFO, SGA, our Investment Relations Advisors. The results and the presentation are uploaded on the stock exchange and the company website. I hope everyone has had a chance to look at it. Let me begin with a few updates in the industry. After a deep slowdown in the Indian auto industry, this fiscal has been comparatively better off as compared to the past few years' performance, especially H2, when we all saw a V-shaped recovery and a pent-up demand. It's expected that the overall performance of the Indian automotive industry in the fiscal 2021 would still be a negative growth. However, it will be a little bit better than that of the vehicle manufacturing sector. In FY20, the component industry declined by 12% from $57 billion to $50 billion. While in FY21, the degrowth is expected to be in single digits. As per the data published by SIAM, which is the Society of Indian Automotive Manufacturers, in the financial year FY20 and 21, there was degrowth in sales of all segments compared to previous years. Negative 2.2% for PV vehicles, with 2.7 million units. Negative 13.19% for two-wheelers, with a sale of 151 lakh units. Negative 1% for commercial vehicles, with a sale of 5.69 lakh units. And negative 66% three-wheelers at 2.16 lakh units. Let me give you a brief about our company. Our business is broadly divided into our standalone business, gaskets and forging, and 3 joint ventures with global auto leaders for gaskets, which is for two-wheelers, suspension, chassis components, and rubber products and hoses. We are a very hedged autocom company with sales across all segments and even strong in the export market. A small breakup of our domestic sales: 37% of our revenue comes from two and three-wheelers, 26% of our revenues comes from passenger vehicles, 22% comes from commercial vehicles, and 11% comes from agri. We've always been mentioning in the past few calls that our focus is on the domestic OEM business, as well as increasing our market share in the domestic OEM business. We've very successfully tied the wave of the BS6 product line that is being done with, and we've been focusing a lot on exports. Very, very happy to share that our export revenue percentage last year reached 25%. It's the highest ever. Let me just dive a little bit into the segments. Let me first talk about the gasket business. In our gasket business standalone, we continue to hold a healthy market share domestically and also making inroads globally. Our focus on OE export business has helped us secure orders from established international brands across the globe. Along with our joint venture, which the joint venture is basically for two-wheelers only, our market share is 50% in the country for gaskets. We are clearly a leader in this segment. As mentioned earlier, our strategy here is to help OEM adapt with the BS6 technology. With the BS6 technology, we increase our value addition per gaskets. We are constantly working on reducing costs by reducing imports. And this has been endeavor for the past many quarters. A new product line, which is very futuristic in nature, is the heat shields. Heat shield is now gaining momentum in India. We have a tie-up with Sanda, which is our customer in Japan for lightweighted heat shields. We are now making inroads with Indian car makers for this technology. It's a product which gets fitted on the engine, on the exhaust, underbody. It's a product for hybrid vehicles, for IC engines to reduce weight and performance of heat management. The forging business has been an outlier in terms of growth, predominantly led by the fact that we have a good quality forging house in the north of India and with good exposure to domestic OEMs as well as exports. Here, our exports of this particular division are at 50%. Very healthy product mix that we have for our forging business. Let me come to the joint ventures. We have a joint venture I mentioned to you with Marelli. This is a 50-50 joint venture for chassis components. Here we are supplying pretty much, I would say, lot of products with Tata Motors, to Maruti, to Mahindra, and also exports are about 16% of the turnover, with a very leading car maker from Europe. We are also a leader in these kind of components in the space in India. Galvez Morrigo is another joint venture we have a 50-50. This is a joint venture for rubber components and hoses. Here also we cater to OEMs like Maruti predominantly, and now also exporting back into Japan. These two joint ventures, Marelli and Morrigo, have got immense opportunity to grow. We are now seeing new OEMs such as Ford, GM, as I mentioned, Japan, because we established a product portfolio and our current relationship with the customers, we will definitely grow much more in these joint ventures. We're going to grow geographically, we will grow product-wise, so lot of growth out here. As I mentioned to you earlier, that we are a very well-leveraged company today, and we have in the cusp right now to capture larger share both domestically and internationally. With the improvement in opening of the economy, we expected to improve the FY20 performance in FY22. However, at this juncture, we would like to refrain from giving any guidance for FY22 in view of the recent surge which has happened in the second wave of COVID-19. May has been a very muted month for the auto industry. The second wave is more like a tsunami which can hit us. But we'll have more clarity about FY22 maybe by after quarter one. However, I would like to give us some glimpse of quarter one in terms of operation. In April, in our gasket business, we were operating about 90%. In the forging business, it went down to about 75% due to lockdown restrictions. And the JVs went down to about 50% in the month of May. Again, because the JVs are basically supplying to domestic OEMs, whereas in the gasket business and the forging business, exports have a larger share in the portfolio. What I'd like to say is, before I pass on to Mr. Juneja to give you the numbers, is last year's numbers is a reflection of our strategy of exports, hedge portfolio, and a very strong cost-cutting drive that we've done across all our plants. With that, I request Mr. Juneja to give you an update.
Thank you, Anuj. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all the participants. Let me begin with the financial overview. In the gasket division, including Nippon Linkless Talbos, for FY21, our standalone gasket sales was 287 crores as against 265 crores in FY20, with a growth of 8%. Total revenue on Nippon Linkless was 83 crores in FY21 as compared to 106 crores in FY20. This segment saw a combined EBITDA of 50 crores for FY21. Now coming to forging division, the forging business is consistently performing well. The revenue in FY21 is rupees 170 crores as against 134 crores in FY20, a growth of 27%, which is the highest growth among all the product segments. Now coming to Magneti Marine Chassis Systems Private Limited, total income of for FY21 stood at 124 crores, vis-a-vis 137 crores in FY20. Now coming to Talbot Margo Rubber Limited, the total income from operations for FY21 stands at 41 crores, vis-a-vis 46 crores in FY20. The above-mentioned revenue numbers of all joint ventures are on a 100% basis, including our share of business. Now, coming to the consolidated financial performance of the company, we have reported consolidated financial performance on NDS. Total income, including other income, stood at 453.2 crores in FY21, as against 391 crores in FY20. In spite of the washout in the first quarter of the year, we managed to show a growth in this physical, that too in double digits. In Q4 FY21, company reported rupees 160.4 crores of revenue as against 92.5 crores same period last year, with a growth of 73.5%. All the segments, including JV, have performed well during the quarter. EBITDA, including other income, stood at rupees 64.6 crores in FY21 as against 43.1 crores in FY20, making 50% growth on YOY basis. We are improving our margin profile in all segments gradually. Financial costs reduced to 13.5 crores in FY21 from 16.1 crores in FY20, a reduction of 2.68 crores owing to repayment of debt. We have reduced our debt, including term loan and working capital, by about 50 crores during the year. PAT stood at 39 crores in FY21 as compared to 12 crores in FY20. FY21 PAT includes 14 crores of gain on sale of Chennai property. We continue to book orders and add new set of customers along with our long-term relationship with our existing customers. This is all from my side, and I will now like to open the floor to question and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Amit Shah from A Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
sir. Sir, congratulations on the good set of numbers, sir. Sir, I have a couple of questions. So one would be, sir, while our gasket business performed well, the performance of Nippon Linkless gasket business was weak. Can you throw some light on that?
Yes, I would like to do that. Because in the Nippon Linkless, we have two customers. One is Hero and one is Honda. Okay. As you are aware that in the initial 4 months, they were very Hero and Honda was very weak, and the Honda was continuously to be weak during the whole year because of the low demand of scooters. Honda basic product is scooters. There was, because of no college was open, nothing was there, no school was there. So the demand of two-wheeler in scooters especially was big. Second is the top line has come down. One of the reasons we have developed for the BS6 gasket for Hero a gasket called ACK gasket is for the BS6 engines. That gasket in old days, in the previous BS4 gasket was with imported material, and the selling price of that gasket was 46 rupees. Now we have developed a gasket with the engine made of Indian steel and Indian raw material, Indian paint. The price of that gasket is 37 rupees, but the margin is very, very good as compared to earlier gasket. So our top line has come down, and it starts supplying from February. So our top line has a little bit come down because of that only. But in future, you will say very good margins going forward. But if you see the EBITDA of this quarter, last quarter, it's fantastic EBITDA. It's I can tell you the EBITDA of the last quarter of this JV. In Q4, the EBITDA of, just a minute, let me go to the papers. Yeah. The EBITDA of this JV in the last quarter of Jan to March, in spite of lower sale, is 21.31% as compared to last year of 15 and last quarter of 17.93%. Okay?
Okay, sir. So that was helpful, sir. Sir, my next question would be, sir, we have achieved 25% export levels, which is a jump of 4% from last year, FY20 levels. So going forward, what are we expecting on exports?
But I think during the current year, like 21-22, our target is to take it to around 27-28%.
Okay, in the current year.
Yeah, current year.
Okay.
And you will see over a period of time, you can see the reflection of that. From every quarter, it will keep on increasing. We'll see the reflection. We have strong order book with us. And with the new order book, we are strong, quite hopeful, and we will achieve this number, 27-28.
Okay. Okay, sir. Sir, and my last question, sir. Sir, current year, 39 crore revenue is inclusive of capital gains.
Yeah.
So can we expect to achieve normalized profit in this range in the next fiscal year?
I think it's a very
our full intention is to do that. Let's see how the thing moves in the market, because something is not in our hand, like COVID wave, second wave. People are talking third wave. I don't know. Nobody knows about that. Our intention is
we have a strong order book. But there are all external factors that we all have, like lockdown and COVID. But I think quarter one is a better position to give you some guidance.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shikha Mehta from Equity Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on a great set of numbers, and I hope all of you are healthy. I just had a couple of questions. So what is our outlook on CapEx for the next couple of years? I know we said that we have some sort of outsourcing capacities as well, but are we planning any major CapEx over to the next 2-3 years?
Yeah, I can talk about 1.5 years at present. Yeah, in the gasket division, we are planning a capex around 15 crore for our heat shield, because what we are foreseeing is the demand of heat shield. We need to do some major capexes in the presses and the Nimbus machine, which is around 15 crore. This is for the heat shield. Plus normal gasket capex of 8 to 10 crore will happen in the gasket division. In the forging division, we need to build a shed, and we need to add 1 or 2 presses and the machining line. So we are expecting a capex of, in the next 15 months, around 10 to 12 crore in this our forging business. As regards JV, I think nothing major will happen except MMT. They will do a capex of 4 to 5 crore going forward, and Margo will do a capex of 2 to 3 crores, and our Nippon Linklaters will do a capex of only 2 to 3 crores in the next 15 months, approximately.
Okay, great. And So this CapEx will allow us to reach what revenue? Like how much growth can we see from this CapEx?
Yeah, I think, but as a gasket, we can see a growth, top line of 400 crores with this CapEx. Okay? And in the forging, we can see a top line of around 250 crores approximately. And the rest is, of course, in the multi-milli, we can see a top line of 200. And in with this Margo Rubber, can see a top line of 80 crores. This is about.
Okay. Okay. That's really helpful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's a semiconductor shortage because of which assembly has been slow for most of the OEMs, etc. So are we seeing any ripples of that? I mean, we have a very robust order book, but has execution been slower for us or anything of that?
Yeah, in our looking our customer base, we are not supplying to Kia or Hyundai, etc. We look at our customer base. Our export customer in Europe is suffering some problem because of the semiconductor. But they are assuring us that this problem will be resolved by end of June, or they are saying by latest by August it will be resolved. So they are ramping up the production every month. The order book is very, very solid. So I hope so by after September this problem will be resolved with them. Only major customer to whom we are supplying, who is facing the problem, is on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so again, congratulations on the export. So it's very sizable growth. We've been reading about logistics costs increasing. So have we faced anything of that sort, or what are we seeing moving forward?
So logistic costs, there was one-off reason was there in the last quarter.
Right,
and
right.
Because of that, that Suez Canal issue also, there was a lot of shortage of container was there. And our customers with single source, we are single source then, we had to do a lot of air shipment to them to maintain their line working, and which will continue till June. Major expense has been incurred. Some minor expense will be there till June. After that, I think things will fall in line. We are expecting, we are increase our capacity also, something we have done here also, to keep the stock healthy at that level, at their godowns.
Okay, so my understanding is that Q1 might see some sort of...
Little bit, not but the major is over.
Yeah, it'll be a one-off thing, majorly. All right, sir. And so if you could shed some light on our vision for the next 5 years, what we expect for Talbros, and from which lines or which segments we'll achieve that growth?
Ma'am, it will be too early for 5 years.
5. I think strong. Yeah, I think strong growth, export market, keep adding global OEMs in the product portfolio. I think forging, Marelli and Margo will be the strong growth drivers going forward. Gaskets will continue to perform well because of the BSS product portfolio. Heat shields is a new line of lightweighting in aluminum for hybrid vehicles, for IC engines, which is happening out here. So for us, we can't really give you a 5-year guideline at the moment, but the same energy, the same passion, and same momentum will be seen at Talbros.
Right, sir. And
working on return ratio, like you've seen, for example, last year in a pandemic year. I mean, we still grew and we cut down debt. So the focus was very clear. And if you look at last 2 calls, was we want to work on return ratios, and that's what the endeavor is going to be going forward.
Right. And so domestically, have you been facing any supply side issues due to COVID, or is it normalizing now?
No, we suffered some issues in the month of, April and May. We faced issues in our forging division because of steel, because of the oxygen shortage. Steel production was halted, and we have to pay heavy prices to meet our customer demand. But now we are seeing that problem is getting over now.
Right. Okay, sir. Thank you. That's all from my end. I will come back in the questions too.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Apurva Mehta from AM Investments. Please go ahead.
Sir, congratulations on the great number.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sir, just wanted to ask about this, heat shield business. Where do you see next 3 years, heat shield business? What kind of traction you are getting, new orders kind of thing, and are we seeing increasing customer inquiries in this side?
Sir, in the current year, we are expecting a business of around 18-20 CR in the heat shield business, which we expect within next 3 years will touch 50 crores. For that, we are increasing capex of 15 crores.
And can you throw some light on the supplies to Cummins, which we were, doing earlier? How is the, order book there, and how is the traction from Cummins earlier?
Cummins traction is very good. We have, as wire harness gasket, we have already installed there. Small machines are running. So, whatever they produce, we are supplying them. But of course, there was a little dip in the month of May. But now from June, they are back on track. And think by July, August, they will put in full force. And we are the only source, and we are giving them. There's no quality problem, no problem with that.
Sir, what will be the current run rate per month in supplying to Cummins? Any ballpark figure?
Yeah, if I talk about March, April, it was around 7,000. But in the month of May, it came down to 4,000. But now again back to 6,000. But their demand will go up. If everything will remain normal, it will go up to 11,000 by September.
And on the MMT side, we saw that the margin on EBITDA level is now close to 23%. Is it any one-off thing, or these are because of economics of scale and you have started doing writing up?
In Negatively?
Yeah.
Negatively is Nippon Nucleus.
MMT, what are the margins? See, MMT?
MMT, the EBITDA margin
Q4.
For Q4 was 10% around. 10%. It can't be 27% in a sheet metal business. Sorry.
See, MMT.
Percentage.
So we did an EBITDA of 10.8% showing that.
Yeah. In this quarter, it's around 10%.
You're looking at only quarter 4, right? I've got the numbers with me.
Yeah, quarter 4, yeah.
I'm talking about quarter 5. I have to read the numbers.
Yeah. I'm seeing quarter 4.
No, it's 10%.
Scale. Yeah.
So this percentage will go up further with the increase in exports to the UK customer, which was lying low in the last quarter. Now it's picking up. You can see after second quarter, you can see the improved margin in this. Plus some price increases.
I think Surendra, in the presentation, just see this figure of 10.8. It looks like an error.
Yeah.
Let me see the presentation. I see my papers.
Sheet, presentation 9, page 9.
Q2 is 10.8. It's crore, not percentage.
Yeah, but 10.8 crores
is not percent.
FY21.
It's in rupee terms.
Sir, I think we'll answer this question maybe offline.
No, because I am looking at the presentation, MMT in the quarter 4, the EBITDA is 10.8 crores rupee. It's not percentage.
But that translates, if you see, 46 crore was the turnover, and the Q4 EBITDA was 10.8 crores or 10.8%.
Sir, just a minute. See, I think that this figure is wrong. The EBITDA is 4.56 crores.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, our mistake.
I was really surprised to see that. That's why I was asking that is anything one-off.
Sorry, my mistake. Our mistake, sir.
Yeah, okay. And when you were talking about export going up, what is the reason behind it? Because domestic also is going to do well, and still we are telling that our export will go up to 27-28%. Any reason behind any order, new wins, or the traction?
Yeah, sir. As you are aware, we got various orders in the pipeline. They are matured. We told you about export orders of heat shields, etc., which has now start maturing. Number one. Number two, Megati mainly. Now, forging. Forging our customers in Europe and Italy, etc. Business has matured. Now the business will start. They start exporting. Now in MMT, we already announced that we have got from a European customer BIS parts to extent of 12 crores, 14 crore per annum. That supply will start moving from September, October. So all these projects will fall in line. Margo Rubber, their major buyback, etc., will start coming in. So we expect the growth will be there, much more. Good growth will be there.
Okay. Okay.
To answer your question, to answer, EBITDA for Marelli was 9.87% for quarter 4, and 8.7% for the full year.
Okay. Sorry.
There's a small error there in that PP.
I will have rectified and reload.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot, and wish you all the best. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Varun Bajaj from Quant Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I'm attending the on-call of Tigers for the first time, so I don't have an extensive coverage of it right now. So just wanted to ask, so in this pandemic year, how have we been able to achieve a growth in top line as well as improvement in margins, and the scope for the heat shield business, if you could elaborate on that.
So, as you are aware by now that we are a total hedge company. We are in all segments of auto, be it two-wheeler, four-wheeler, agri, off-roader, LCV, MCV, SCV, plus with a good product mix of a good blend of export. What happened in the when the last year the lockdown was opened in the May, we have got some backlog of export orders. We start dispatching them in the month of May and June. Then by that time, the agri sector was booming, so we supplied to the agri sector in a big way. And by the month, in the month of June, July, Maruti etc. start opening and two-wheelers start moving. Festive season came, and then the V-shaped recovery. So we followed that, and there was a recovery in the export segment also in a big way because Europe etc. opened early, and that has helped us in achieving that. Plus BS6 products which we developed, and my contribution per vehicle has also gone up in BS6, and this has also resulted in increasing my top line and the bottom. And on the bottom line, we keep our strict control on all the expenses, like very, very strict control expenses. It has paid off in that. That is a major story for them.
Okay, and heat shield business, sir?
Yeah, heat shield is a new product. Of course, we started making heat shield 2-3 years back, but this was a conventional heat shield. Now, a lot of this Korean OEM and the Japanese OEM required a special technology of aluminum heat shield for Nimbus heat shield. We acquired that technology from our partner Sanwa, and we applied proud to announce that we have won the order from Hyundai for the heat shield. We have won 2 orders from Maruti, and we are expecting more orders from them on this light-weighting technology. So that is the way we expect this business. Now this technology is being accepted by all OEMs, and we will grow multifold in that. Plus, we are getting very good traction in export from our customers in this market in heat shield business.
Okay. And any other Indian player into the same line?
No major player is. Our sale is, I think we have found out from the others, I think we are number one in this at this moment.
Okay. Great. Oh, and sir, what about the debt profile? Are we looking at reducing this, cutting off more debt?
Yeah. If the cash flow remains like this, we will further reduce our debt. Not in the normal way. Now, this year is a one time for the sale proceeds also, it was there. But going forward, my focus is to reduce my interest cost further down. By reduction of debt or by reduction of interest cost, whatever way.
Okay, sir. Many thanks, sir. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question, press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Sunil Kothari from Unique Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you.
Hope you are getting my voice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, broadly, nothing to, major question. One thing I wanted to convey since last 3-4 years, I'm tracking this company, I'm investor, and very, very positive about Mr. Talwar and Mr. Juneja. Whatever you said, I'm committed, that is happening, and you are fulfilling those commitments in terms of bringing cash flow to the balance sheet of land which was not used for so many years. Then you are reducing your debt, you are improving your margin, you are increasing your exports. So really, thanks a lot, because it's a very difficult for a long time to commit something and fulfill those things. And
thank you, sir. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I think we ourselves are very keen to keep growing and working on ratios.
No, you have increased people's confidence in yourself a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. And sir, just wanted to your larger view on JVs, because what I understand is standalone we already reached 150 crore capability in a quarter. So I'm hopeful whatever time frame you'll be able to reach 600 crore with this same capacity, and as we are increasing some capex, so hopefully there will be some growth. But looking at the JVs, what's the scope of all these three JVs? If you can talk qualitatively or quantitatively.
No, I will talk about it. Let me MMT on the top line, of course, something happened, COVID happened, which is based on Maruti and some export customers, European, some because of COVID. If everything remains well, believe me, this company will be a 300 crore company in 3 years.
Oh, great.
Believe me. They have order book in hand. And going forward, this is 100% they will achieve that. Morgo Rubber can be a 100 crore company in next 2.5 years. 100 crore from 40 crore last year. We have businesses. We have closed a lot of businesses. When you meet personally, we can explain to you. It can be 100 crore company easily with good EBITDA of around 14-15% easily. You can see some reflection in this. Some quarters you will see the reflection of that. In some quarters. Not right. Regarding our Nippon Nickless, don't go by top line. Top line will not grow that fast because the pricing issue, we reduce localization, because initially we used to import a lot of material from US, paying duty, exchange risk, etc. Now we are starting indigenizing, and my margins are going up with that. So you see the bottom line of that company going forward only. Don't bother about top line. It can't be 200. Sorry, it will be 10%, 8-10% growth every year in the industry. But the bottom line will be fantastic.
And sir, looking at your the style of improving balance sheet, reducing debt, it seems there will be a really remarkable improvement going forward in terms of ROC. Do you have any objective or target, maybe a reasonable time frame, 2-3 years?
We'll go in steps. Of course, it all depends how the business goes, how much cash generation it does. Our wish is within 3 years we should be ROI, return of equity, return of investment should be 18%, 17%. We are thinking of those lines, but let's see.
18%
capital employed should be 18%. Capital employed. Equity should be 15%. Net equity, I think it should come down to 0.25 next 2-3 years.
Great, sir. You are doing a great job. Thanks a lot. Wish you good luck.
And also, for the first time, we're seeing a 0.44% debt equity ratio, which is healthy.
You remember, you are an old investor. 4-5 years back, my interest cost used to be 16 crore per annum. Now it's down to. Remember, I still remember we used to sit together and every time.
No, great, sir. Great. You are doing a great job. We are with you for a very long time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Kapoor, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello.
Thank you very much for the great set of numbers, Parvati and Sunil. So, of course, a couple of questions. So basically, we did about 453 crores revenue standalone this year. So how much can we, do in the next 2 to 3 years? Can we do somewhere about 700 to 800 crores this year?
Your voice is not very, very audible. I'm sorry for that. Please split.
Is it better?
No, it's now better. Little better.
Sure. Thank you. So I was just asking, we did about 453 crores revenue this year. So if we see the future in the next 2 to 3 years, which we can, partially predict, what sort of revenue targets are we expecting? Can we scale up to 700 to 800 crores revenue?
So first of all, India shows only standalone top line. I want to just clarify that. If you see my presentation, on the first page, my real revenue is 705, including JVs, our share of JVs, full JVs.
Yes. Yeah.
The 705, if I talk about that only. If I were, our target, within the next 4 years, it should be 1,000 crores.
Yeah, I understand. I've been a shareholder for the last 4 years, so I understand because of Indian accounting standards.
Indian is only standalone. It doesn't talk about JVs at all.
Correct. That just shows in the bottom line. Yeah. So I'm aware of
because if my JVs grows, it's affecting the bottom line. It's fine, but it's not affecting the top line.
Correct.
That's why if I talk about my 100% share of all JVs, etc. So last year we did 688. This year 785. Our target next 3 years it should be around 1,000 crore minimum.
Okay. Excellent. And so this quarter we did EBITDA margins of around 15.5%.
Yeah.
So how much can that go up in the next 2 to 3 years? Around.
Yeah, I think it should.
Would that be reasonable?
EBITDA count. How much? What you said? How much EBITDA?
About 17%.
So I think because our business margins
your voice is not very clear.
17 is in next 3 years it should be around 16 plus.
Okay.
Because we have achieved the EBITDA, there was no increment in salary, no travel, etc. was there last year and the last quarter also. So going forward next 3 years when the economy will be local and this year the increment will be there for the people. So I think between 16 to 17 we should, not more than that. Depending on quarter to quarter, depending on the product mix, everything, a lot of stuff in that.
Okay, great, sir. That's a good news. And sir, our net debt to equity ratio, if we adjust the bank balance, was it around 0.3%? 0.3, is it right? Net debt to equity?
0.44%. Debt equity.
Okay. So you said in the next 2 to 3 years you think it should be around 0.25.
Your voice is not
clear. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Kapoor, your voice is coming muffled.
Is it a bit better?
Yeah, now it's better, a little better.
Okay, excellent. So I was just asking debt equity ratio in the next 2 to 3 years. You said it should be somewhere about 0.25%.
So it's around 0.25%. 0.25. It's not 0.44. We will be targeting 0.25.
Okay, great. And so going forward, looking at the EV space and the hybrid space, are we looking, for some orders? I just read an interview of Mr. Talwar, a couple of months ago, wherein he said we were in talks with Tesla. So any plans around that?
No, nothing at this
moment. But we're supplying to electric vehicles. We're supplying to a European car maker from our forging and our chassis unit. We are already supplying components to this EV vehicles. There's a small percentage, there's not small revenue. Tesla, there's nothing much happening at the moment. No. Yes, we were looking at nothing happened there. But yes, we are supplying to electric vehicles in the global space. We are. And we will be a part of every powertrain possible.
Excellent. So you do see some orders in the next 2 to 3 years in that space, hybrid and
we are already supplying.
No, hybrid we are already there in hybrid.
Okay, yeah.
And EV.
So as percentage to the sales, do you think it would improve in the next 2 to 3 years?
We can't say the percentage. My gasket will go in hybrid. My chassis and forging will go in electric. So it's very, very difficult to give that percentage. They are still going in the EV for the European car manufacturers. We are trying to EV cars which they are making.
Okay. And so just the last question. What is the outlook for, the conventional space, the things you're doing in the next 2 to 3, 4 years? Does it look okay, considering the fact, EVs are coming? So what is the outlook for the conventional stuff you're doing?
I think the car makers in India today are not, you might see that, Tata Motors has this electric vehicle, but the penetration is very low today, like 2% or 3%, whatever, right? So even though today the car makers, whether it is, I don't want to quote it, but your largest car makers in the country, which have a 70% market share, are still giving us enough guidance on the internal combustion engine. It is here to stay. There's nothing going to happen overnight. Yes, you're going to see these small, you'll see these two-wheelers, like Ola's putting up a plant, and, Amazon might come tomorrow and say, I want two-wheelers. But intra-city, like 30, 40 kilometers, Amazon, Flipkarts, scooters, you'll see the first penetration. But cars, trucks are a long way still.
We don't be
a long way away.
Yeah. And recently, 2 days back, Prime Minister announced that they're looking for the new fuel, blended fuel, which will be made in India. I think their target. I think we received. I read a mail. Anuj sent me some clip of some channel. They're saying that by 22, 23, 25%, these all two-wheelers will be use new fuel, which is made in India, cheap, and less emission will be there. So again, that fuel engine will be there. So we don't see a major threat.
Great answers. And just the last thing, apart from the Chennai land sale, any other non-core assets you have which you're looking to sell to improve the balance sheet?
No, we don't have any vacant property. All are occupied.
Okay, excellent, sir. So congratulations and all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ravtej Singh from Malabar Investments. Please go ahead.
Hello. Congratulations on a great quarter, sir.
Thank you.
So I have a few questions. I'm sorry if this has already been covered. I just joined the call a bit late. But could you elaborate on the heat shield opportunity a bit more, and what sort of revenue traction do you see, not now, not even for the next year, but say over the next 3 to 4 years? How large can the opportunity potentially get to?
Yeah. This year we are targeting a turnover of 18-20 crore in heat shield business. Today morning we got won a new order from a European car maker for the heat shield, also just for your information. And going forward, we are expecting, we have won the 2-3 big orders from Hyundai and Maruti for various heat shields. And keeping you with the traction and the order book in hand, and which is going to be there, which we are expecting, within 3 years, and not this year, and the 3 years, we can touch about 50 crore easily in this business at present. Maybe this figure will improve further after 6 months when we talk.
Okay. So 50 crores is basically the order book that we already have then?
Already have, and more or less 90% is secured out of this.
Okay, got it. So is this constrained by capacity, or is this constrained by our ability to...
No, it's not constrained by, it's constrained by development time.
Okay, got it. So what's the outlook, say, 5 years or 6 years down the line, right? I mean, ultimately...
Our internal target next 3 years touch 50, and after that next 3 years touch 100 in that.
Okay, got it. Understood. So, and my next question then is, the 1,000 crores revenue target that we've given, can we just break that down a little? I'm sorry if I'm covering this again.
I'm not giving a breakdown. I'm just talking about 3 years. If it's 3 years, our target. I don't know what will happen, but how will it, of course, we'll work towards that. My forging will be 250 crores. Broadly, 250 to 300 for forging. and gasket should be 450 to 500, gasket along with heat shield, etc. And my Margo rubber should be, sorry, my MMT should be around 250 to 300. My Margo is around 100, and 110, 120 is my Nippon. It will be more than 1,000 crore, by the way.
Yeah, it's coming to more than 1,000 crores. That's exactly what
I'm just giving a band. I'm just giving a band.
Okay, got it. And on the gaskets side, just want to understand the product a little better. Is there any usage for gasket in a vehicle without an engine? So say an EV, or I mean, do gaskets basically, or is there zero usage?
No, it's only the combustion engine and exhaust.
Only engine. Of course, they are in exhaust also. Okay. When there is a exhaust, there is a gasket will be there. Basically, engine.
Only in an engine. Okay, so basically, we won't be selling to EVs then.
No, but our product, if you look at our company portfolio today, 50% of revenues of ours comes from gaskets. However, in gaskets also, we are predominantly supplying to commercial vehicles, agri, and two-wheelers. We're not that much in cars. For cars, to offset that offset EV threat, we moved into heat shield product line, which is aluminum, lightweighting product portfolio is going to be there. Plus, as I already mentioned to you, from our chassis component, chassis company, as well as
absolutely,
we are there. So, whatever may be the powertrain, we will be a part of it.
Understood. No, I appreciate the diverse portfolio that we built up. I just want to understand what's the value of our revenue, which is basically at risk out of this EV disruption. So, just the value of the two-wheeler gasket.
Very small at the moment. The next 2 to 3 years, if I look at the gasket business, the only threat, as I told you, is coming from maybe scooters. Motorcycles are not going electric. They're still there for personal mobility. They're there for rural. They're there for transportation. In India, if you look at the two-wheeler space, maybe of the scooters, 5-10%, 2025 may go electric.
It will be very nominal number. Believe me, Bajaj is not talking about EV.
No, that's fine. I just want to understand. Okay, so I'm not taking a 3-year perspective, right? I'm taking more of a 10-year perspective on this, which is why I just want to understand the numbers a bit better. So roughly 100 crores of revenue from two-wheeler gaskets, right?
No. I'll again, out of that 100 crores of revenues, scooters would be maybe about 15 crores or 17 crores, 18 crores.
Okay.
Balance is motorcycles.
Okay, got it. So basically, it's like, so even if 50% motorcycles.
By a very fancy. No, I'm saying motorcycles are not going electric. If you look at the worldwide phenomena, mostly scooters or then very, very expensive e-bikes, for biking, which are like 4-5 lakh rupees, 7 lakh rupees.
Yeah.
The bulk of two-wheelers in our country, which is motorcycles, will remain.
No, I agree. I agree. But see, even if 50% go electric, but even then we're looking at, say, only a 40-50 crore revenue, which is at risk, right? Which will more than get met up by heat shields. So that's
not only heat shields. See, we are constantly aware of the EV because it's a very cool looking business. We understand that.
Yeah.
That is why our focus is on very heavy IC engines. The Cummins of the world, the Caterpillar of the world, the Volvo trucks of the world, big heavy engine, freight movers, industrial engines, massive trucks, marine. So we are there. And our other components like chassis or JV or forgings, that will continue, will be an EV anyway. Aluminium we're working on. We're working on features. I can't give you any guidance at the moment, but what I can commit to you that we will be in powertrains which are used in the road. We are there.
Got it. That's great to hear. And strategically speaking, how are we looking at our product pipeline going forward, right? Are we looking to increase the value content per car? If so, from where does that come in? Just want to understand your strategic thoughts around it.
So it's coming from both ways. Value, of course, in BSS we are increase the content per car. In Magneti we are adding more product per vehicle. Of course, so we're talking about full chassis now instead of some only tackle control arm, TCA we are talking about. We are talking about full suspension. Plus, of course, with the addition of new customers, it's a combination of both. It's not one thing. It's a combination of both.
No, I just want to understand your strategic thoughts around what sort of products are we looking to add? Or are we just good for now? Are we just going to stick to the product portfolio that we already have?
No, in gasket, of course, we are talking about heat shield. It will be gasket will be there, heat shield will be there in one car. Okay. BS6, of course, we increase the number of gaskets. My company's engine will have one more gasket. We are adding that also. In Volvo, we have added one more gasket in BS6. So with the heat shield coming in the same vehicle and with the gasket coming in the same vehicle, I will add my components. In Magneti Valley, we used to supply a small tire control arm. Now we are talking about the full chassis and we are adding more components in that. Similarly, in forging, if I supply one component, I am supplying one or two components more in per vehicle. So that way we are adding that. More product lines. In Margo, we started with the rubber suspension mold. Now we are adding hoses. Tomorrow we will do engine mounts. We will add more products in that.
No, got it. Understood. Fair enough. So just one final. I have two final questions. I'm so sorry for stretching this. Heat shields. Are heat shields also related to the engine, or are they?
Everywhere. Sort of underbody, exhaust. Formula One cars, for example, have got heat shields all under the body of the vehicle. So there's huge application worldwide. The revenues of heat shields are north of about $22-24 billion today.
That's a huge market, which sort of makes our 50 crore estimate look kind of pale.
So we are starting now. Let's see where we reach. But there's validation, there is testing, there's investment. So yeah, we're starting with the Indian car makers, which didn't happen in many years, and we're already supplying to car makers in Europe, and we're stopping there. It's like what, so that's it. It's a positive outlook for that. Yeah.
Got it. And my final question then is a bit more financial. 3 years out, we're looking to hit less than 3 years or 3 years out, we're looking to hit 1,000 crore top line with about a 16% EBITDA margin. So net, are we looking at about 120 odd crore PAT? Is that what it's going to work out to? 120, 130 crore PAT? Just want to, get the numbers right.
This is on proportionate basis you have added on the 100% basis?
Proportionate basis.
I don't think so it will be that much. I don't think so, 100 crore. Of course, it will be a handsome number. It should be double from this level. That I can say, minimum. In next 2 years. In the 5 years, of course, it will go up. I have not made that detailed plan as of today. I can't.
Yeah, but we'll touch this on the quarter one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, we are on the top line. We work on the thing. On the bottom line, but year on year we keep on. Next 2 years we work, not more than that, because things change very, very fast. You know that.
No, we're already at a 50 crore run rate, right? From basis Q4.
Run rate, of course. Because that run rate was because you know that every year last quarter is the best quarter for the auto industry. Thank God, it was there. Everybody has target, etc. And now first quarter is washed out. You know that first April went little bit, May is washed out. June is now opening up, etc., etc. So this quarter is little mute. Then how the economy, if the economy goes up, of course it will be fantastic. If it will be continuous, then there is no problem. Because of this COVID, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. This from a 2 year perspective, right? 2-3 year perspective, that effectively we can potentially get to say an 80-90 crore PAT then. 90 crore.
Yeah. If there will be no disruption, everything remains good. Order book is there. We will achieve more orders. There is no problem at all.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dipen Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. Mr. Talwar, Mr. Juneja, congratulations on a very good set of numbers. And as Sunil Kothari said, you have been achieving whatever you have been promising over the last 2-3 years. And the debt reduction also gives quite a bit of confidence to us about the future prospects of the company. Sir, most of the questions have been answered. I just had one question which was left out in terms of the new aluminum heat shields which you have written about in the presentation. If you can just give us some more insights, how different are they from the current ones, if at all, and what should be the potential for that particular product over the next 1-2 years? That's the only limited question which I have.
Sir, regarding that technology, Anuj will answer. Because Anuj, bata technology bata do thoda, please.
Yeah, basically it is lightweighted. It is a lightweighting product, and in aluminium there are several layers which go into vehicles. So the current heat shield is supplying, the original ones were only steel. Then they came steel and aluminium, simple. Simple steel and aluminium stampings. These are corrugated sheets. So they have got 3 sheets in one.
Okay.
So what they do is they are lightweighted, they are more robust, they're able to handle the engine management heat system much better. So they're very complex, very complex product to put into the heat shield. And we have a tie-up with our partner in Sandla, and exclusive tie-up today we have with them. And it's different from the heat shield in terms of technology. 3 layers, corrugated, more displaceable area it covers in an engine. So potentially is pretty immense, and the leading car makers today, Maruti, Honda and Toyota are now finally going to use this. We had the capex for a long time, but the cream, which is now they're going to use this product line.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now comes the business volume, what you were talking about. In this, of course, we have the capability to make all type of heat shields. Steel heat shield, they got steel, aluminum, dimple, aluminum पे dimple होते हैं. We run through the roller and it have dimple. We have that technology. Now we have Nimbus. Nimbus is the top end of the model. This heat shield. We have now all the technologies going forward. In my overseas European customer, they are giving in steel. Some is taking in aluminum. But all this Japanese manufacturers, especially Korean Japanese, they use Nimbus.
Okay.
And we have got the order from Hyundai already. Maruti has given us 2 heat shields. We are talking about the third one. There's a new models we are talking about. Toyota, of course, will get in next 1 or 2 years because somebody is supplying from there, which will be nice. So once we enter in one heat shield, then they have a confidence. Then they will open the door for us. They are all importing at present.
Okay. And thank you, sir. And the other thing is about the raw material cost. There has been an increase in the commodity prices.
Yes, sir. You are right.
How soon will you be able to pass it on?
Sir, it depends on customer to customer. 99% will recover, but sometimes it takes 1 month, sometimes it takes 2 months, but we'll recover.
Okay. And you spoke about increasing air freight cost in the last quarter. Which probably will go down in the current quarter and will be...
but it will not be there after June. That I guess.
So if you can quantify it, how much was the impact in the last quarter?
Last quarter it was more than 1.5, 1.7 approximately. In this quarter it should be around 75.
Oh, okay. So we should gain about 1 crore in that...
hopefully, but material prices also
sure.
Here and there now.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much and all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as this was the last question for the day, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope we were able to answer your questions, whatever limited time we had. So as said earlier, we're looking at growth, we're looking at return ratios. We have to see quarter 1 to see what's going to happen with the lockdown and COVID. And yes, we are very, very positive in our outlook. Yet, we have to be cautious with this COVID around us. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Thank you. On behalf of Talbot Automotive Components Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.